Dickie Greenleaf? It's Tom. Tom Ripley.
Tom Ripley?
We were at Princeton together.
Did we know each other? Sorry, what is it?
Ripley.
How do you do?
We'll just be for a little while.
No, I like him.
Marge, you like everybody.
Marge, you like everybody.
You stay at Dickie's house, eat Dickie's food, wear his clothes, and his father picks up the tab.
What did you actually do in New York?
Telling lies, forging signatures, impersonating practically anybody.
What?
I wish I could live Dickie's life for him. I know what I would do.
Did I know you at Princeton, Tom? I don't think I did I?
I always thought it'd be better to be a fake somebody than a real nobody.
Why is it that when men play, they always play at killing each other?
I feel like I've been handed a new life.
I wouldn't have cared what anyone thought.
Everybody should have one talent. What's yours?
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and you never meet anybody who thinks they're that person. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margot D. Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. Dicky. You're so annoying.
If Jude Law called me annoying and boring, I would have thrown myself into the ocean.
I would have cried.
I would have been so sad.
I would have been, yeah. We have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we
here.
do.
Oh, my goodness.
We are dorking out about 1999's The Talented Mr. Ripley. Obviously, we were inspired by the Ripley limited series that is on Netflix right now, which is so beautiful to look at, by the way, that black and white photography. Anyway, it's directed by Anthony Minghella. Minghella, thank you. Screenplay by him as well. And it's based on the book, The Talented Mr. Ripley by Patricia Highsmith. She's kind of a creep, huh? I read a little bit about her.
Is.
Yep. But there's like 5 of these books, 6? I forget how many, but she's a creep.
She was interesting.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great way of putting it.
They should do a limited series about her.
Good call. I'd watch the shit out of this.
I'm writing that down.
This stars Matt Damon as Tom Ripley.
Matt Damon!
Gwyneth Paltrow, Jude Law, who looks so beautiful.
I mean,
this is the hunkiest Jude Law has ever looked to me. I know people love like holiday Jude Law, but this is peak Jude Law for me. Kate Blanchett is in there, and Philip Seymour Hoffman making one of my favorite entrances of all times.
He is such an amazing. He played such great douchebags. Everything he did was great.
Oh my god!
This was just after Scent of a Woman.
Yes,
it's like that character. 10 years later.
Yeah. Philip Seymour Hoffman is such a good actor that he could play a movie. He could do something like Happiness where you're like, ew, what a fucking creepy weirdo. And then he does like Magnolia where he just breaks your heart. And then you see something like this and you're like, what a douchebag. Like he's so good.
He's so good. And everybody knows a Freddy. Everybody's been around a Freddy.
Totally. Yeah. Everyone knows him. My friend, did you see this in the theater?
I'm sure I did, but I don't remember. 99 was a crazy time for me.
Yeah. 99 also, we're going to go through a movie list later. What an embarrassment of riches that year is. There's a million great movies that year.
At the end of the century thing, people are just like, I got to get this in while there's still a 20th century.
But I saw it in the theater. I maybe watched it one more time after that, and I haven't seen it since. Like I haven't.
See, I'm the opposite. I don't remember seeing the theater, but I've seen it like dozens of times.
Ooh.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. But when I saw it the first time, I really liked it. Duh. Spoilers, it's really good. And I thought it was beautiful to look at. Like just, and again, this time around, I was like, it's beautiful to look at. And in this viewing, I really appreciated what Matt Damon was doing this time. Whereas last time I was a little burned out on Matt Damon. Everybody was like, he was the hype. Like everyone was in on Matt Damon. And I was like, meh, he's fine. But this time he's surprised. He's really fucking good in this. He's so good.
Okay. I don't think he's good. I actually,
interesting.
My take.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as good as I remember it being.
This is fascinating.
So though this could be a combative episode.
No,
I don't know.
No, Margot and I would never fight.
We never do fight.
No, we never fight, even when we disagree. I'm fascinated by this because the movie actually played better for me this time than it did when I saw it the first time.
I think I've just seen it so many times, and then since then, I've seen other versions of Patricia Highsmith, and then also just after this Netflix viewing,
yes,
I was like, I think Minghella is a gorgeous director. He was a very talented man.
Yeah.
I had a friend that's friends with his daughter.
Oh.
He was really, I think it's beautiful to look at. I think everyone's doing great work, but I think he's the weakest link for me.
This fascinates me because first of all, he lost a ton of weight for the role. So he looks different. I don't know. Maybe it played different for me this time because Matt Damon is more of a known quantity for me now. So like when I see something like Oppenheimer or I don't know, whatever random Matt Damon movies that have come out recently, like I kind of know what to expect. And I feel like he doesn't play a character like this anymore who's he's kind of a loser. He's and there's certain scenes in here where he's very vulnerable. I don't feel like Matt Damon plays, Born Identity. That's what I was trying to remember. Like, I don't think he plays these kind of dark losers anymore.
I'm honestly saying this as it's a cast that's so good.
Yes.
That like, I think, well, let's just go through the story then we'll, okay.
Yeah, so set in the 1950s, it opens with we got Matt Damon as Tom Ripley, and really he's a con artist who lives in New York City. He's playing a piano for someone. He's just filling in for somebody at some fancy cocktail party, and he borrowed a jacket from someone that has like the Harvard crest on it. Princeton, thank you. Whatever. Harvard, Princeton, Stanford, whatever.
Where'd you go, Sonia?
Chico State. If he had a Chico State crest, I'd be like, we had a crest?
Or a DVC, Diablo Valley Junior College, like Mark, what's his face plays in Back to School.
Oh yes.
He has a DVC shirt. It's like my favorite thing ever.
Oh my
God.
God.
He's where were we? So Dickie meets the father, the guy then sent of a woman who plays the asshole teacher that tries to try, that whole trial thing. He's a really good actor. He's in a million things, but they find Dickie just manages to like, these people think he's from Princeton.
Sorry, it's Tom who, Dickie is their son.
Dickie's the son.
Yes.
So they think he's from Princeton because he's wearing the jacket, and then they just say the plot is ludicrous, but it's great. But it also, we have to remind us, it's like the 50s. It might as well be the 1800s when it comes to like communication.
I looked it up. They offer to pay Tom $1,000 to travel to Italy and get Dickie, who is blowing through his trust fund in Italy, where he's like shacked up with Marge, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, and they want him to persuade Dickie to come back to the United States. His mom is sick, and also he's just blowing through the money. I looked it up. According to the Google, $1,000 in 1958 is about almost $11,000 now. I'm like, that's not that much money.
No, but I think it's just the traveling first class.
Yeah.
But he's also thinking the long game, which is there's money and it means I don't have to work if I could get somebody to. So, yeah.
Yeah. He's a quick study. Tom is obviously very smart. He starts learning Italian right away. He's listening to like all these jazz records because he knows that Dickie's into jazz and he wants to blend in. They put him in a first class boat, right? Like ship.
Ship, and he's in steerage.
He put him in a suitcase and check him with the luggage.
Right, and the right, Max?
Max is all, your jokes are terrible. Okay.
I think the costuming is great.
Yes.
Because Tom looks just so much poorer than everybody else in how he presents. So, so he goes and he sees them, and he pretends that he's just happening upon them on the beach. They have no idea who he is.
Yes.
And Jude Law has never looked more beautiful. I mean, laying in that chair. Oh my God.
Him and Gwyneth Paltrow, like
they're great.
They're
so well cast.
Yes, like they're both like tanned. Like she's got like these cute little freckles, blonde. You know, both of his hair's like totally bleached out from the sun. They're just living their best life. And here comes Tom Ripley, who's so skinny, so white, because like he's so pasty, and he's wearing these like bright, like yellow little swim trunks, but he's got his dress shoes.
I mean, he's such a loser, and they're like, well, you should come by for cocktails sometime.
They're polite.
They're polite. It's like a thing you say, and I'm sure, if you're traveling and you meet another American, it's kind of fun to like just bond for a minute.
Yeah.
And that's all they mean. But he completely infiltrates into their lives, and he gives up the game pretty much to them.
Instantly. I mean, the first time he's hanging out with them, Dickie asks him, "What are your talents?" And he says, "Forgery, telling lies, and impersonating anyone."
And this time I was like, that is the worst impersonation. I'm a mimic, so I'm tough, like, about impersonations. I'm like, we're supposed to be like, oh my God, he sounds exactly like the father.
Yes.
And it's like, no, he's just making a face like he has constipation and he's just saying shit. I'm like,
meanwhile, I'm the opposite. I can't mimic anyone. This is every impression I do sounds just like me. Nothing. Except for Valley Girl. I could do Valley Girl. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. My talents are like forgery and telling lies and impersonating anyone. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Anyway, so they fall for it. He tells that he gives up the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dickie's whole thing is like, oh, they're going to pay somebody to bring me home. How dare they?
Yeah, let's milk Dad dry for a while.
Which is not a great long-term plan.
No.
But, I mean, I kind of see it. I mean, a part of me is like wants to, shake my head at them. Like, you don't understand it. You don't appreciate it. You have such privilege that you... At the same time, would I be any different if I was raised the way they were? I don't know. It looks like a pretty sweet life to me.
Totally.
Take your typewriter out to the, that overlooks the ocean and write whatever crap you want.
Italy looks amazing. Who doesn't want to go there? The colors, the weather looks absolutely perfect. Everyone seems so friendly. Sometimes they're a little too friendly when it comes to Dickie. Dickie apparently is quite the ladies' man.
He uses his Dickie quite a bit.
There's Dickie and Little Dickie.
Yes, big Dicky, little Dicky, and he's just like he's ready. He's like always got the semi-boner.
Yep.
Ready to go. And by the way,
when in
it's
Rome, Margot,
Jude
when in Rome.
Hey, I'm not judging. I don't say that's out of judgment. I'm just observing. Also, it's Jude Law at like his most beautiful.
Yeah.
And we haven't been anyway in America anyway. We haven't seen him in a million things.
Right.
Like we had for Matt Damon for a couple of years before this. So he was the new element, and it's a great reveal. Like he's super hot. He also treats people like shit. He's very narcissistic. He's very selfish. He's with Marge. He puts up with it because she's in love with him. And they're also the same kind. They have this, they come from family money. They like to hang, they can ski, they can I don't know. They
run
have
in the same circles.
Exactly. And they have very leisurely, exercises that they do, things that they do to hang out. And they're, everyone knows people like this.
Yes.
And some are nice and some are, fake. But they're nice to him. And this could also be like other people point this out to me. Like, I just find Ripley so annoying that I don't find him annoying in other iterations of him. And the way that Damon, I'm just like, how do people not see that this guy is lying? And how does he not see how annoying he's being? Like, it's just like, dude, have some chill.
That is so interesting.
I know. I'm the worst.
No, because I had actually the opposite reaction because we just watched this Netflix series, and in the Netflix series with Andrew Scott, so handsome, everyone knows him as Hot Priest from Fleabag.
Yeah.
And like I found like he's so awkward and like he makes people uncomfortable, so then people don't want to be around him. And then it also in the series, Marge they make her pretty unlikable. Like she's very cold. She doesn't like Tom. She never likes him. And then this one, Marge is way too kind, like really nice to Tom. And
she is, and very patient.
Yeah, and I felt like Matt Damon does a good job of like being friendly enough, but still a little creepy, but not as creepy as Andrew Scott is in the miniseries for me. So I'm fascinated that you had the opposite reaction.
I have the opposite reaction. I think like I see the acting more in Damon than I do in the other guy. Maybe, and that's me being picky. And
you're allowed to be picky.
Yeah, I think that also I did get to meet Matt Damon like just before he got famous, and there is a part of him that is like so charismatic, like he just glows in the dark.
Yeah.
And I think Ripley's got to be somebody that like it could be any guy. I think he's someone that has, that looks malleable, and I don't think Matt Damon always kind of just looks like Matt Damon to me.
That's true. He's not one of those actors who blends in.
It's not like Sean Penn where he can completely look like a completely different. He can look like he's taller or shorter or whatever. Yeah. I think like Matt Damon always looks like Matt Damon. That's just me. I'm not saying I don't love it. I mean, I could look at this movie forever. I'm always like, why don't I travel more when I see a movie like this?
I know.
I love Italy. I've never been to Rome. I mean, I would love to go.
I want to go there.
But also, I think there's two things I think, and it's just another interpretation of the material. And we have to remember that. But I also think this time also with a lot of Hollywood movies with a score, it's just constant music telling me how to feel.
Yeah.
And we don't get that at all. I mean, but it's like another time of year too. Like he's traveling off season or something. So there's not a lot of people, whereas here there's just people everywhere all the time.
Yeah. In the mini-series or limited series, that black and white photography too, there's like
it really adds to it.
Yeah, there's like a distance to it. Like it's colder. And this movie feels very warm.
Also, I think like I'm just being super nitpicky, but I don't think they look alike. I mean, to me, I totally see like because Jude Law, let's face it.
He's Jude Law.
He's fucking I'm sorry. There's like good looking, there's hot, and then there's like Jude Law level.
Yeah.
Like, especially at their. I mean, and this is Matt Damon next to him.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, they don't look anything alike to me. I don't feel like he sounds different when he's impersonating.
Yeah, I could see that.
So I don't. It's just me being picky asshole.
Do you think that everyone in Italy is like all Americans look alike? Or do you think it's also just the confidence that Matt Damon says that he's Dickie that makes people like, yeah, he must be. He must be.
Yeah, and how often do we really, especially like day-to-day observations of people, like do we really memorize like how tall they are and all those their eye color and stuff like that? If it's that's a good point. I mean, it could just be another tourist.
Yeah.
Another rich kid tourist.
Exactly. And until the bathtub scene where like Dickie's playing chess in the tub and Matt Damon
with his little Dickie.
With his little Dickie.
The chess piece.
That's in the director's cut. That's in the very talented Mr. Ripley.
How'd you move that rook?
Ooh. Checkmate, friend. Like that's from then on, like Matt Damon has the creep factor turned all the way up to 11. Like
right. And I think like, yeah, Marge is she's just, for someone who's super smart and seems to have like a clue about like telling him. Oh, so we should say, by the way, sorry. Yeah. They're hanging out and then they're jazz clubs and it's a trio. Like they're always hanging out. Also, Dickie's putting his Dickie in all the ladies.
Yes.
And one of them winds up pregnant. She asks for money from him. He tells her to get lost, which is because he's an asshole.
He has so much money and he was like, no.
Because he's probably like, you're lesser than me and you'll just bother me forever for money if I ever give it to you, which is probably what he was taught from his family.
Right.
And it's just shitty and he's a narcissist. So she winds up unaliving herself. Mm-hmm. And then that's when, this Tom thinks like, oh, I know the secret. He, and so that this bonds them. And so Tom just does not get it that this guy is not into you, that this guy seriously could never be faithful to anybody. He's only about himself. Like he's a louse.
Yes.
And Tom is just like,
yeah. And Marge tells him at one point, like, look, when Dickie is all in, it feels like the sun is shining on you all the time. And then he gets bored and he moves on, and that can feel.
We've all been there.
And we've all been there. We've all had like
a friendship or a relationship or a relative or somebody. All of a sudden they're all into you, and then it's like they lighthouse you. Like they kind of notice you from a distance, but then they're putting you at arm's length.
Yes.
And it's frustrating because you're like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, you think you did and it's not you, it's just they got distracted by new and shiny. And they're moving on. And that is what he is starting to do to Tom. Also, Tom is acting like a creep,
Like a weirdo.
Yes.
He's really like smothering him and, trying to push people away. When he meets, so this is when Freddie shows up. And it's Philip Seymour Hoffman in a car, a little Fiat or whatever. It just drives right into the fucking plaza. There's like pigeons flying everywhere. And he just jumps out of his car like, ciao.
Ciao, ciao, Bella. Ciao, ciao. Wish I could fuck every woman, man.
The ugly American times 11.
So good.
We've all seen them when we've traveled. And it's like, and it's it's such cringe. But he's somebody who just shits money. He does. He never has to worry about anything. And so Philip Seymour Hoffman is so good because he immediately checks that Tom's not our kind dear. Like this is, he sees it, and he senses the bullshit right away. So then Tom is trying to get rid of Freddie because Freddie is saying things like, "Oh, let's go skiing, let's do this, let's do that," and Dickie ignores Tom all over again. They take him to a city that they're going to go traveling. And Tom's like, let's go look at museums and do this and that. It's like, Dickie don't want to do that shit. Like, what do you even?
He doesn't care about that stuff.
No, he wants to party.
Yeah.
He wants to fuck girls. He wants to get drunk. Like, he doesn't want to hang around a museum with you. Like, it's like, God, get a clue, Tom.
Yeah.
So he basically, Jude Law Marge has to tell Tom that you're not going skiing, which is the big signal to him, like the money stream, first of all, is going to stop, because Dickie always also picks up the check everywhere.
Yeah, Tom can't pay his way.
He can't pay his way. He doesn't know how to do the things they all do. He doesn't speak their language, literally or figuratively. He doesn't have the right clothes. He doesn't know, names to drop. He's just completely figuring it out as he goes along. And then I think it's so well done on the boat, the tension between them. And then he and I loved it. Jude Law's like, boring.
Yeah, this is when I would be like, like I would just throw myself in the ocean.
I'm sorry, you're right. I suck.
Oh, he's so beautiful.
He's so gorgeous, and he hates me. I gotta do something to make myself better. It's all this insecurity comes up, but he winds up killing Dickie. And then
he's so angry.
He's so upset.
Angry. Yeah,
and then he's laying with the body, and so then he has to like make Dickie appear like he disappeared. Like he tells Marge he's going to San Remo, wherever he goes to, and he told me to tell you, which is not how he would do it. But Marge, what else can Marge do? Marge is like, that was her big fear, that he was, because he's telling him he and Marge are getting married. Yeah, and that they're going to grow up. They're probably going to move back to the States. Like they're going to, and so seriously, it's all going to go away for him. And so he just figures, well, I'll just get rid of it.
But at the same time, it isn't unlike Dickie to just tell Tom to do his dirty work, because he had Marge do his dirty work and tell him about the ski trip that he's not invited to and all of that.
True.
So it's not impossible. I also want to mention in the limited series, when they do the boat scene, I texted you and I was like, this is making me sweaty. Like, it was so insanely stressful in the limited series that I got so sweaty and anxious. And I think this is also very stressful. It's just, but it's a much shorter sequence in the movie, obviously, than the limited series. But yeah, he starts doing this. He's trying to trick Marge into like thinking that Dickie just broke up with her and that he's moving on. He's not coming back to their small Italian village. He's going to go to Rome, and he's like staying. He's like checking Dickie. I almost got Dickie. Dingy. Doogie, whatever. Little Dickie. No, he's checking him into hotels and making calls, impersonating him to give everybody the impression that Dickie is alive. He's just being a dick. It's right in the name, Dickie.
Right.
Yes.
And Tom is basically living Dickie's life. And so he gets a hotel room. He gets the best of the best. We forgot to mention the Kate Blanchett of it all.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Like
our Blanchett.
Yes. She's very young in this. Like
they're babies.
They're all babies, but she is like someone that he meets on the ship. Oh my gosh. And he's pretending already that he's Dickie. Like he instantly starts pretending to be Dickie in the first like 20 minutes of the movie. So she only knows him as Dickie.
Right. And so they meet up with each other when he's on a shopping spree. And so now he has to like, he's acting like he's Dickie, and then sometimes he's Ripley. So he has to like do that whole thing kind of back and forth. And he's staying at this, getting like tailored suits, and he's buying all this like stuff from the museum shop. And
yeah,
I don't know.
He's so fancy.
He's so fancy. So he's putting up sculptures around his apartment, and Marge is upset and she feels hurt. And that's when Philip Seymour Hoffman shows up. And
hey, ciao Bella, I'm gonna fuck this girl too. Here he comes.
He just starts walking in, and he immediately susses out. Like Thomas, and to all he knows, he's just spending all of Dickie's money.
Yes.
Like somehow he got Dickie's money, and he is going to find out about it. And I love it when he's at the piano keys and just like clinking the keys.
And Tom is getting so pissed.
So pissed because he loves that piano. And he's like, and Dickie doesn't play the piano. Dickie's a sax player.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows it's bullshit. But he doesn't know is that Tom is a sociopath. And so as soon as he starts to leave, Tom ices him out, whacks him over the head.
Yep. It's pretty
with the
gruesome
sculpture.
shit.
Yeah, he really knocks him out. And then he takes him and he tries a weekend at Bernie's him. Like he takes him down all those stairs.
And he's just, he's pretending that Freddy is really drunk. He's like, oh, my friend, he's so hilarious. Look how drunk he is.
And there's chubbier versions of Philip Seymour Hoffman, depending on the part.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's twice the size of Matt Damon. Like there's no way he could carry this guy.
No.
Like, even if, so he's taking, and it's a plausible thing. Like we've all seen people carry drunk people.
Yes.
Places.
Again, Chico State.
Exactly. We do it in San Jose State too. But we've all seen, I live by a subway station and I see people come out of the stairs and they're just like, right. So we've all been there, and what do? We avert our eyes. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
There for the grace of God.
You're right.
And you just sort of look away. So he puts him in a car and throws him off the side of a road. So now Dickie's dead and Freddy's dead.
Yes.
And so Marge thinks that Ripley is Ripley, but that she thinks Dickie's alive. And then they find Freddy's body. And that's when Matt Damon, on the one hand, has to tell Marge that he thinks that Dickie killed Freddy because Freddy knew something about Dickie and the girl that died. So it's like all that. So Marge is like processing that, while he's also hanging with Meredith, who's Kate Blanchett, who thinks he really is Dickie.
Yes.
So it's confusing.
Yeah, and the scenes with Marge are really sad because Dickie had told Marge that they were going to get married, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and then all of a sudden he's just disappeared, and Tom is telling her like it's over and that he's moved on or whatever. And there's a whole thing where like she basically breaks up with quote unquote Dickie through a door.
Right. And wouldn't you demand that he open the door?
Right.
That's what?
That part was I was like, at that point, I'm like, do you not just bust in the broom? But
yeah.
Okay.
Grab Matt Damon and just bust him in there like a log,
right.
Like the police. Yeah, just bust him out. But no, she doesn't. And so she cries and she leaves. And then she has a friend that Tom hooks up with. So Tom is a repressed gay person.
Yes.
Or he's bisexual. It's sort of like Patricia Highsmith herself. It's kind of like, well, there's a lot going on. Right. So, but maybe he's omnisexual or whatever you want to call it. But so he and the gay friend are have eyes for each other. And what happens?
First of all, they never, at no point do any of the men kiss in this movie. It's all just insinuated or hinted at.
Because it's 1999 and it's a Harvey Weinstein movie. So
they want to, still be mainstream. They don't want to alienate homophobes. So we don't get.
Right. It's all an illusion. I remember at the time it was a big deal. Like, oh, Matt Damon's playing gay.
Yeah. Ooh.
Ooh.
Well, even I just remember seeing that movie Philadelphia with Tom Hanks and like Antonio Banderas, and their characters like never kiss. And I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, it's just so dumb.
Oh, you're right.
To write around it. Like
Matt Damon, by the way, was in the Liberace movie.
Yes.
And he played the lover of Liberace, played by Michael Douglas. And there's like a sex scene between them. One of my friends like sent me a text. She watched the movie. She goes, "Oh my God, I'm so horny right now." I'm sorry, but the sex scenes are terrible.
I have never seen this movie.
You've never seen it?
No, but I've seen clips of it. And I know like Rob Lowe is doing some banana stuff in it too. I should really watch it. I should watch it.
Yes, it's camp.
Okay.
That's
we could do an episode on it.
Yeah, you know what? That's an idea.
That would be fun.
That would be hilarious.
So what happens is there is a whole thing where like they all go to the opera They're all at the opera, but Tom is there with Meredith. She thinks he's Dickie. He runs into Marge and her friend Peter, and they know that he's Tom. He has to keep them separate. He agrees to meet Marge and Peter at a cafe, and then agrees to meet Meredith at the same cafe for some reason. And then he doesn't show up right away. So then Meredith sees Marge and realizes that Dickie is there to see Marge, and she backs out. So then she disappears for a little while. We don't see her. And then Tom shows up, and and then Dickie's dad shows up, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. So at that point, like, Meredith is out of the picture, and it's just Tom making it look like Dickie died by suicide after murdering Freddie.
Right.
And at a certain point, like, a private detective shows up, and that's Philip Baker Hall. Again, one of those people who's always good. And
such an amazing actor.
Yeah. And he just quickly, like, I mean, he believes it instantly. He's like, yeah, this is what happened. Like, Dickie murdered Freddie. He, because Freddie knew about the pregnant woman who died by suicide, and then Dickie died by suicide. He believes it quickly. Like,
and Freddie wouldn't give a shit if he told him.
He totally wouldn't.
Freddie would have laughed it off in a second.
Yeah.
I think, personally.
Yeah. Freddie definitely wouldn't have cared. So at that point, Dickie's father now thinks Tom was such a good friend to Dickie that he is going to leave, like, a lot of that trust fund to Tom, which is bananas to me. But
yeah,
he wants to reward his loyalty to Dickie, and it ensures his silence, because he doesn't want anyone to know that Dickie murdered Freddie, which he didn't. But anyway, so he's going to get all this money. Marge is never buying it. She's like, I know it was you. But she looks like a hysterical woman to all the men.
Right. And I liked the version better in the limited series. I think Marge is much smarter.
Yeah.
And Marge is tougher.
Yeah.
And Marge is pissed.
Yes.
Like at him. But then Marge believes it too. But you see her making the connections and how she would believe that. Mm-hmm. Versus here, she's just, like you said, she becomes
this one,
hysterical.
she's just trusting her gut in this one. In the limited series, like, she knows. But this one, and she just loses it and starts crying, and all the men are just like, there, crazy woman.
Sorry about your fiance.
Yeah. So then after that, now Ripley is traveling to Venice, and he runs into Peter, and now Tom and Peter are lovers, but they don't kiss, because they're not those kind of lovers, apparently. And they get on a
secret lovers.
So 80s. So they get on a ship. They're going wherever, and Tom looks really happy. He's gotten away with it, right? He's got all this money. He's got a man who actually loves him and wants to be with him. And I mean, who knows? Maybe Tom would get bored and move on, but he seems happy. But then he runs into Meredith, and she's with all of her people. So they all know him as Dickie.
Lots of co. I love the way she says that. And lots of co.
So they know him as Dickie. This has now ruined everything. He can't just get rid of Meredith. All of her people know him as Dickie as well. So he goes back to his room and he kills Peter. And it's really sad. He apologizes to Peter for lying to him, and then he strangles him to death. And we don't see it, we just hear it, and it's really sad. And then I really forgot about that kind of Godfather ending where the door just kind of closes on Tom Ripley, and I was like, God, that's really sad. I don't want Tom to get away with it because he's a bad person, but
But that's what Ripley is, though. He's just a sociopath, and he just moves from one thing to the next thing to the next thing.
Yes. But I thought this was a really good movie. I really, really liked it. And I honestly, I thought I might get bored because I just watched the limited series, but no, I was all in. I really, really liked it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I thought it. I don't look at it with rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
I'm a little more askew with it, but I think it's fine. I mean, I wasn't bored either, and it's lovely to look at, and everybody's lovely to look at in it, and it's got first-class acting, and the locations are beautiful. The clothes are perfect. I want to own everything like Gwyneth Paltrow. If I'd have to get 1,000 colonics or whatever she sells. But
you get one of those jade eggs.
Jade eggs, just
so weird.
Hold on for dear life. Yeah, her trajectory as a person is so interesting.
Yeah, we have talked about Goop on our other podcast on What a Creep. I like Gwyneth Paltrow, the actress. She tends to make movies that I like. We did an episode on Sliding Doors. I love Sliding Doors. Like, I think she's really, really good. And I wish she would do that instead of Goop. Because Goop is fucking weird, man.
It's a cult. It's weird. It's just not... Yeah.
Yeah. I read that...
It's very powerful as a brand.
It's very powerful as a brand. I read that Leonardo DiCaprio, Christian Bale, Tom Cruise, and Edward Norton were all considered for Ripley at some point. I don't see Leonardo or Tom Cruise in this kind of role.
No. I think, who was the other one? Sorry, Edward Norton?
Edward Norton and Christian Bale.
Yeah, either one of them could have done a good job.
Yeah, Tom Cruise and Leonardo they're movie stars. That's...
Also, one of them's really tall, and the other one's really short.
Tom Cruise is so little.
He's a bitty one.
He could only play Little Dicky.
He's in the bathtub moving the chess pieces.
The little Mr. Ripley.
Yes.
This movie was nominated for 5 Academy Awards, but the only acting was for Jude Law. Again,
he's good in this movie, though.
He's very good.
Yeah.
It didn't win anything, but I thought you might like to hear about some of the other movies that came out in 1999.
I would, Sonia.
Okay. The Mummy.
We love The Mummy.
I love The Mummy. So good. Brendan Fraser, so good. Austin Powers.
I loved Austin Powers. We should do that one day because I haven't seen that in a long time. I wonder how that would age.
Yes, because at the time I thought it was very funny. I mean, this is before all the sequels came out and everything was like, oh, behave, all that stuff. But I really liked that one. Run, Lola, Run.
I loved that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time.
I haven't seen it since the theater, but I loved it when I saw it. Bowfinger.
I remember really liking that. I haven't seen it in a while, though.
It's really funny. I think this one would still hold up. Bringing Out the Dead.
Oh, is that the Mark Anthony? Yeah.
Being John Malkovich.
Great
movie. Princess Mononoke, which is a Studio Ghibli movie. They're beautiful animated movies. I love this one too. The Insider.
Love The Insider.
So good.
Yeah.
Sleepy Hollow.
Such a swing and a miss. Like there's so much that could be great about it.
Yes, exactly. That's how I feel.
And there's his scripts get worse and worse.
Yeah.
With Tim.
It looks
Burton.
So good.
Always looks great. Yeah. Nobody can ever fault him on the aesthetics.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always, he gets great people. I think that the scripts get worse and worse. Like, I don't know who he stops working with, or he decides to do it himself, or I don't know. But
yeah, there used to be a time when I was excited to see Tim Burton movies, and now I'm all, no thanks.
He did too many with Johnny Depp, I think.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then the last one is Any Given Sunday.
I have never seen that.
I think you would like that.
And I think I would, and I think that's Adam Risky's favorite, right?
I think that's one of those ones he really likes too. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can ask him about that one. That would be fun.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it. So do you want to hear the top 10 songs for when this came out? It was mid-December 1999.
Yeah.
December 12th. Okay. Some of these, wow. Okay. Number 10, LFO, Girl on TV.
I don't even remember
I don't even know
song.
that. Number 9, we've been talking about her, J-Lo, Waiting for Tonight. That's a good song.
I loved J-Lo's first album.
Number 8, Lou Bega, Mambo number 5.
A little bit of Monica in your
In my
life.
life. Yep. No, I don't know this one. Number 7, You Know What's Up, Donnell Jones. Donnell? Sorry.
I got
I'm
nothing.
white. Number 6, Savage Garden, I Knew I Loved You.
Oh, you couldn't get away from Savage Garden
Yeah.
songs, but they were never my thing.
No. Number 5, R.I.P. Whitney Houston, My Love Is Your Love.
Mm-hmm.
She was great.
So great.
Number 4, speaking of Mark Anthony, I Need to Know.
Oh,
Good
yes.
song.
Yes. That's it. This is when like Livin' La Vida Loca and all that was
Right.
all the rage.
Number 3, Jessica Simpson, I Want to Love You Forever. I don't know it. I'm not a gay man. I know I'm old. So Jessica Simpson escapes me. Everybody loves her. I think she's cute as a button, but
Yeah.
whatever. Number 2, Brian McKnight, Back at 1.
Oh,
dear.
yes. It's an R&B slow jam.
Slow jam. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 1, we've talked about this fucking song. Santana featuring Rob
No,
Thomas.
no. Now it's going to be stuck in my head for the rest of the day. No. I'm so bummed.
God, that was terrible.
No. We should have a no smooth rule on this, and from now on, it just never gets mentioned again.
Maybe I'll come up with
Redacted.
a clip. Yes, yeah, exactly.
And number 1, redacted. My friend, what else are you dorking out about?
I finally saw Late Night with the Devil because you've been talking about it.
Yeah.
Loved it. Such a great movie.
Right? I love
I didn't-
all the stuff, the set of it, and yeah, I liked it.
They get so much right. And I think it helps that it's not like filled with famous people. Like
Yeah.
it's filled with actors I'm not that familiar with, but they're all great. And it looks real. And I don't think it missed the landing. I was totally fine
Oh.
with how it landed. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was hilarious when Stephen King went on Twitter to say, not everything hits the landing. It's about the journey. I'm like, yeah, you would say that, Stephen King. Good for you. And
Of course
saying
he
as a
would
super
say
fan- yeah. And I'm saying as a super fan, but yeah. he's right.
Even if the ending didn't work for me, I still recommend the movie, and I still like the movie. Like
I thought it was, I liked the journey. I liked where they were going. It was interesting. It was original.
mhm.
Anyway, I'm still loving Elsbeth.
Me too.
Such a good show.
So fun.
It has Gina Gershon this week,
Yes.
which is just we need her more.
Great guest stars every week.
Yep.
It's doing it right.
I saw from Mr. John Travolta Cash Out and Kristen Davis. It's fun. It's it's doing the Mission Impossible thing.
Okay.
It's doing the Bourne Identity thing. Like it's a heist movie, and Lucas Haas is in there. And I say this: Kristen Davis and John Travolta have great chemistry.
Oh, okay. Where'd you watch it?
Amazon.
Okay.
It was like $4.50 or something to
Okay.
rent. I was like, okay. And then I've been listening to Rebel Wilson's autobiography. It's interesting. She's super smart. I feel bad that, Sacha Baron Cohen,
Yeah.
basically she has to take out a whole chapter of her book in Australia and in the UK. I think in Australia it's not even allowed. Yeah, because the libel laws there are, I can't even.
That is so interesting. Like that, the laws are different from country to country, so you have to change your book from country because then your book is still out there. It's still out there.
I think if I were her, I would put it in a PDF and put it on a site where everybody can just download it. Like
That's smart.
that would be smart. But her, I like when people read their own work. She's a very funny person. She can do voices and stuff like that. I fell asleep in a section where she goes to Africa and then gets malaria and then describes in very gruesome detail like how sick she is.
Ew.
I know. And I was like in that state of like sleep, not asleep. And I was like, I thought I was being like somebody like really boring was following me around telling me an awful story.
Was it Tom Ripley? Was it Tom Ripley?
No, it was Rebel Wilson. Like I woke up and I looked at my speaker. I'm like, what is she talking? I just want to hear about being on movie sets. And
I don't want to hear about your malaria.
Yeah, and also I don't know about you. Like I'm also like the whole thing of like white people going to Africa and be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's a little. But anyway, that's my list.
That's a good list. I saw another scary movie this past week. I watched Immaculate with Sydney Sweeney as a nun. And it is really creepy. And I thought it was really good. And that's another one.
Why are people hating on her?
You know what? She is beautiful. And I think people want to hate her because she is beautiful and therefore she must not be smart or interesting or good or a good actress. Like she's just a blonde bimbo with big boobs. And
are they even that big? Like I was kind of like people were talking about her breasts.
Yeah. Oh, yes. We talked about this before about there was a whole thing about she's making boobs cool again. And I was like, yes, when flat chested women had a free ride.
No shit, man. And then also there was a professor that was a Hollywood producer, maybe still is. Not even she just teaches film. And she was talking to her class. I think it's UCLA or USC down south of Southern California. Anyway, she told her class, I don't get it. This girl isn't attractive and she can't act. So why is she getting all these parts? Not realizing like her audience is probably the age and the interest of her class. So it got out very quickly. And it's like women like who just shit on other women, like oh, she's not that pretty. Fuck off.
Yes, fuck off with that. And also fuck off with the hot takes of like because she's blonde with boobs and pretty, she's not good at what she does. She was in the first season of White Lotus. She was really good. She was really good on Euphoria. People dismiss her in that show because it's a show where people are naked and doing it a lot. That doesn't mean she's not giving a good performance in that. And she did that rom-com with Glenn Powell earlier this year.
Everyone seems to really like it. Yeah. I should watch it. I haven't seen a good rom-com in a while.
Yeah, and people are like, finally a rom-com where people fuck. And I was like, cool, I should watch that.
Now that sold me.
Yes, but Immaculate is a scary movie, and she's a producer on it. Apparently she auditioned for this movie at some point, and then it didn't happen. And now that she's got a little cred, she's like, I really want to make this movie. So she's starring in it as a nun, which seems unlikely casting, but she is very, very good in it. And she is
good for you, Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah. She is a nun who, like, her parish is shut down in America. So she is transferred to one in Italy, another Italy. And creepy things happen. I'm not going to ruin anything because in this one sticks the landing for me. I really like this one. I thought it was really good.
Where is it streaming?
I watched it on Amazon. I rented it.
Okay.
So I think
what's it called again?
Immaculate.
Immaculate. Okay.
If you like religious nun type horror, I think, you know.
What's better than horrible nuns, like murderous nuns?
It's so hot right now.
Nuns with a grudge. That's like I'm all on board with that.
It's a whole new genre, nuns with a grudge.
Don't get complacent around Sister Margaret. Watch her. She'll fuck you up, man.
She'll fuck you up. Nuns, they know how to fuck you up.
They won't put up with your nonsense.
Hey-oh, hey-oh. What about the penguin from the Blues Brothers? She's like beating just beating the shit out of them.
Oh, I'm just amusing myself right now.
So funny. I love it. And then I also started The Jinx Part 2. And
what did you think? I thought it was boring.
It is a little bit of a victory lap for him, this first episode.
I hope it gets better.
Yeah, the first one felt like so much of a recap of the first part. And I was like, can we just assume that everyone watched the first part? Like,
it was rather popular. Yeah.
Yeah. Like anyone who's watching Jinx Part 2 probably watched Part 1. Like, I don't need the victory lap part. There's a whole thing where like he invites like her family and like Jeannie Pirro and all those people over to his home to watch the final episode so that we can watch them like freak out when
to it.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, it seems like really like I don't know, it's just so very staged. And I Robert Durst is a fascinating person, and I'm hoping the next episode gets more into what happened after the first part. This first episode was like, but I'll keep watching. And then, of course, I'm watching a bunch of Pixar movies right now, and I finally watched Elemental, which is their one about like fire and water romance. I didn't really like it.
I don't know a lot of Pixar movies. There's just no, that's not true. Wasn't there one with it was about a musician who dies?
Oh, Soul. Soul.
I loved Soul.
Calvin loves Soul. He watched
Soul
it over and over.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one was just, first of all, it is, again, like every movie, beautiful to look at. Like Pixar, they learn something from every movie and they take it to the next level. So there are things in Elemental that are beautiful, but the whole idea is like it's this city where like fire people live and water people live, and there's like wind people and like plant people and all this stuff. But I was like, I don't understand the rules. I guess I need to understand the rules. Like Toy Story had rules and Inside Out had rules. This movie has no rules. Like sometimes the fire people set things on fire. Other times they don't. They can't touch, and then they can touch for some reason. Like I was like, what are we doing? It was like,
that sounds way too confusing for me.
I was like, it's not for me. I'm sure it has its fans. Every Pixar movie does. I was just like pretty indifferent. But it's streaming on Disney Plus if you want to watch it. Not you, Margot, because you won't care.
No.
It's not worth your time. You would be better to see Immaculate.
No, I'll probably watch that right now.
There you go. This was fun. I'm glad we talked
This was totally fun. Ciao.
Ciao, Bella. My friend, where can people find you on the internet?
You could find me at Brooklyn Fit Chick. That's my site, and that's where I am for Instagram and Threads. And then on TikTok and Twitter, I'm at Brooklyn Margot.
And if you like the sound of Margot's voice, and I guess mine, you can also find us at our other podcast, What a Creep, where we talk about creeps of the past and the present. And right now our episode out is Karl Lagerfeld. That was fun. He's a fashionable creep. It was a good one.
Yeah.
You can find Dorking Out Show at dorkingoutshow.com. You can, if you would give us a review, that would be delightful, and we'll give you a shout out. You can email us at dorkingoutshow@gmail.com. Give us your address. We'll send you some stickers. You could send us requests. Like, we take requests. We got a couple of requests, actually. I need to add them to our list. And you can follow us on all the things, too. Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, wherever. And you can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on whatever your preferred social media channel is. My friend, thank you for talking about the talented Mr. Ripley with me.
Thank you. Ciao, Bella.